Hi hoes, I'm Queen, Jen's champion of Season 5, also known as the bitch who never puts her acronym in her name for 3 seasons straight. I haven't done one of these in a very long time because, well, life's a bitch, and so is my Wi-Fi when it comes to uploading videos. But that's beside the point. This is one of my favorite teams I've ever drafted, and most of it is centered around using a certain thing that you will find out if you don't already know. But let's do this PCL Season 7 Origins draft for the Mad Hatterenes. Basically, this league is a points draft league. You get 120 points to spend on any amount of Pokemon from 9 to 11. I can't use cut moves or Z moves, but Mega Evolution and Transfer moves are all fair to run here. Basically, I'm in the top division, which frightens me now even more than it did last season, given how stacked we are now. So I tried to make as scary of a team as I can to distract me from that. So first, we have Tornadus Therian. It's a weird round 1 pick, I know. But when you look at the rest of my team, I think it makes the most sense to get this thing before anything else. But we know what this thing does. Regenerator is always a nice ability, one of my ground resists on my team, also one of my primary defoggers. I know it isn't the best idea to rely on this thing for removal, but to be honest, I'm not too afraid of hazards. I think this thing gets more reliable as a defogger now that it has the option to run heavy-duty boots, meaning I don't have to take rocks damage every time I switch into it. Tornadus is just such an easy Pokemon to slap onto teams because of the roles it can provide for me. My round 2 pick was Kartana. With hidden power no longer being in the game, Kartana becomes a bit better and no longer has to fear all the HP fire moves thrown at it. This thing is also just very scary to prep for in general. It has a good amount of options to run. Subswords Dance, Scarf Band, could even do a speed boosting variant if I wanted to. The purpose of this thing on my team is to just increase my offense as much as possible. A bunch of my other picks are there for the same thing. Next, I picked up Indeedee. This is the main piece of my team. I wanted to build my team around psychic terrain as much as I could. Kartana, for example, becomes a lot scarier when the terrain is up and it can't be killed by priority. It's also good to note that I get both genders, meaning I can decide whether I want a more offensive or defensive approach with this thing. Psychic Normal is also a great typing defensively, giving it only 2 weaknesses, and it also works quite well with my next Pokemon, who is also a Psychic type by the way. Indeedee gets lots of cute toys to use, such as Encore, Trick Room, Healing Wish, Baton Pass, Aromatherapy, and Trick, making it great as a support Pokemon as well. Now, the other Psychic type on my team, Mega Gardevoir. This is a Mega I've wanted to use for a very long time but never knew how to fit into my team. And then Indeedee came into my life. Now its psychic moves are just as strong as its hyper voices under the terrain, if not stronger. It also got 2 new toys, Mystical Fire, which compensates for its inability to run hidden power now. The other one is Teleport, which it always got, but it was buffed this generation to allow it to act as a slow U-turn, which can be nice to bring in something such as Kartana or one of my other Pokemon as well to set up for free. The other one is Teleport, which it always got, but it was buffed this generation to allow it to act as a slow U-turn, which can be nice to bring in something such as Kartana or one of my other Pokemon as well to set up for free. It still has its other options, of course. It's still an amazing Calm Mind Sweeper, it's still a decent Wish Passer, and it still has Will-O-Wisp and Thunder Wave. This thing just became so much better with those 2 moves, and it makes it a lot scarier and lethal when it comes to building. There were only 3 types left that I needed for my 2 cores to be complete: Dragon, Fire, and Water. I decided to get my Dragon first, Haxorus. You might be thinking that this wouldn't be a good idea because it won't be able to run First Impression, which is a neat buff it got this generation. But this thing can set up Dragon Dances without the fear of Ice Shard or other priority moves with this team. It also got close combat, which gives it an even better option to run against steel types. Like Hatterenes, this just gives my opponent another Pokemon to be afraid of and prep for. After that, I cheated and got Volcanion instead of getting separate water and fire type. I have good reasons for it too. For one, this gives me another defogger, which is very nice. It also provides some more bulk, which my team was lacking before it. I know it isn't intended to be defensive, but who says it doesn't have the ability to? It has Steam Eruption, which is literally a stronger Scald that's slightly less accurate. Toxic, Haze, Defog, and Raw help further optimize its potential as a defensive Pokemon. Similar to my other Pokemon, it's great offensively too, as it is still a Volcanion. Spec Steam Eruptions are always spooky when you take into consideration that they still burn, so the dragons aren't even safe aside from maybe Gudra, the Lati twins, and Curum, who even then has the possibility to run physical now, so more for me to have fun with. Very versatile Pokemon overall, and I'm excited to use it again after almost a year. With only having one ground resist at the moment, I felt like I needed another one. Buzzwole went undrafted until I picked it up in the grace period, previously being Throw and Venomoth before. This thing just has so many options and is just as much of a threat as the Pokemon above it. Choice Scarf sets now don't have to fear priority as long as my Psychic terrain is up. It also has solid sub and bulk up sets. It can also be ran straight up defensively with the moves it gets, and it can be ran with Assault Vest as well. Its stat distribution just allows it to run so many things and fit into my team perfectly. Bulk was something my team needed more of, if I'm being honest. I decided to get a dedicated defensive Pokemon in Miltank, one of my favorite normal types in a draft format. It's just so versatile. Obviously, it's a great rock setter, something I didn't even have until I picked it up. It also has just enough bulk to deal with so many things and also has two great defensive abilities in Sap Sipper and Thick Fat. The latter ability was something I really needed due to the lack of ice resists aside from Volcanion. Ice is already a type one might struggle with if I don't bring at least one of these things against a good one, so this makes it a bit less of an issue. Not only is it great defensively, but it also has potential offensively too, thanks to Scrappy, which also got buffed to be immune to Intimidate by the way. Obviously, it much prefers to be ran defensively, but from time to time it could do it if it really needs to. Meet the only other Gen 8 Pokemon I've drafted aside from Indeedee. Its name is more Peko. This provides me my electric and my dark typing, really nice to have in a single Pokemon. Its attack and speed, while not necessarily amazing, can do the job decently as well. The real treat you get with more Peko though is its move pool. Fake Out, Parting Shot, Rapid Spin, and Taunt make a very valuable supportive move pool. It also gets an amazing offensive move pool with Aura Wheel, Foul Play, Ice Fang, Fire Fang, Psychic Fangs, Siege Bomb, Stomping Tantrum, and for some reason it gets Outrage as well. Its coverage is very diverse, and it has supportive capabilities as well. It provides me a slightly more reliable spinner, which was much needed for me since my defoggers aren't the greatest at the moment. And let's talk about Aura Wheel, a base 110 power move that doesn't miss and guaranteed raises speed too. Granted, it does change type every turn, but that's what Protect is for, which more Peko makes great use out of. This move is scary. Imagine it on a Pokemon like Tapu Koko or something. Aura Wheel turns its decent speed into something even better as a way to say fuck you to Scarfers. That a below base 97 speed that is. Lastly, I needed a ground type. I needed another rocker. Mudsdale fits nicely into this role and gives me another defensive Pokemon as well. It got buffed in the form of Body Press this generation, which is a very nice move for physically defensive Pokemon. What makes this even better with Mudsdale though is stamina, which boosts your defense after every hit. Given how slow it is, every single body press will hit harder than the previous one until it dies or switches out, which sounds super fun. Aside from that though, it's the same way it's always been. Solid rock setter with decent offensive capabilities as well. Body press is just such a fun buff to this thing that I wanted to talk about that in particular. Anyways, that's my team. Overall I tried my best to focus on building it around Indeedee. I can't say how good I did, but I really like this team and look forward to using it. I just like bringing pain to my opponent. What more pain is there than having Kartana not care about priority moves? But that's it for this team. Thank you for watching. I may or may not record even more, it all depends on how busy my life wants to be. Any criticism on this team is more than welcome, although I may or may not follow through. Bye! Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark.